Hello everyone, I'm Mark Wharton with Scott Ogle Realty, and I want to welcome you to the Park Bench interview number 2 with Kim Conrad from the City Code Enforcement. And Kim, welcome.
Thank you.
And Kim has a background in real estate that she used to work at Scott Ogle Realty for some length of time. And so she's very familiar with the real estate in Cambridge, and her job here is about how to help us keep the housing market and the housing stock strong. So Kim, tell us something about how your office works.
Okay, well, my main objective in my office and job is to enforce the property maintenance codes of the city. So that includes everything from exterior of a house, grass, weeds, trash, roofs, porches, anything that can deteriorate on a property, we look at. And there are guidelines within the city ordinances that give me the power to have somebody bring that into compliance. And by keeping our, houses up to standard and good living quality, then, it improves the neighborhoods.
Now the code enforcement, are those codes, are they people able to see what those are that you're working from?
Right, on our website, the city website, there is a section called Codified Ordinances. Most of my ordinances are out of Chapter 159, that's the whole property maintenance code. So it includes all property maintenance. It includes our guidelines for the vacant property registration, which we enacted about 6 years ago, and the rental registration program that we have.
I'll have to admit that I was not aware of the rental registration. Mm-hmm. We became rental people here into the summer, and when I was doing some research for this, I discovered that I had to print it out, and I'll have to fill one of those.
That's fine.
I was not aware of that.
And a lot of people aren't. And if you're new to the rental business like you are, that's understandable. So.
Well, I appreciate that. How does your office keep the housing stock strong in Cambridge?
Well, like I said, I also work, I'm usually the person for the city that handles the demolition if there needs to be. I also work with the residents who might have a fire, and I work with the insurance companies after that to make sure that if there is a fire, it is rehabbed or demolished in a timely manner. So the rehab part of it, I work with the insurance companies. Once that property is back in livable condition, then I inspect it to make sure that it is livable and up to the standards of the ordinances, so that we have safe housing. And then also, keeping things at their up for value if we can by doing that.
Well, I know there was a lot of houses that have been torn down that have really improved how the community appears.
Right, we were able to create the land bank a couple years ago for the entire county. And that allows us to get properties after a couple foreclosures. We can apply for grants from the state. We had a $275,000 grant.
Wow.
That was a 2-year project. We're just finishing that up, but we've taken down within the entire county, but mostly in Cambridge because that's where most of our population is, about 25 properties that were derelict, that were either, had been abandoned for years or were falling down in areas, maybe the individual blight on one block, and so that was able to improve the neighborhood around it and
which
keep the property values.
Owners.
Yeah, exactly. So we're real thankful for that. That's been a big plus.
Now, did you, the city wrote that grant? Is that something that you can renew?
Actually, no, the city didn't write the grant. What it was is we were able by Ohio guidelines to create a land bank. They finally let any county of any size do it. It used to be, you had to be a county of 60,000, which we're not. So now any county can apply for that, and we are a nonprofit. It was quite an extensive process with the blessings of the county commissioners and the city working together. We were able to do that. And
coordinating efforts.
Right. And you might have heard of Moving Ohio Forward grants or neighborhood improvement grants in the past. Now all of those, when they come out, are mainly directed towards land banks. So they're kind of there for the taking if you go through the work of becoming a land bank. So that's what we did. And like I said, we had $275,000 to spend in 2 years. There's a lot of hoops to jump through, but we pay for it and then we get reimbursed for it. It allows for greening of a property afterwards. We can then turn it to maybe a good landlord like you who would want to build something new. We can even buy we have some houses that are, worth saving, and so for like maybe $5,000, you could buy that property from the land bank, agree to have it rehabbed within 2 years. They give us a guideline of what you want, and then you would agree to rent it for X number of years and make affordable housing for
Well, that's a
the
whole other
residents.
subject,
It is,
affordable housing.
but-
That is, yeah,
Yeah.
that's hard to come by.
It
It's
is, it
difficult.
is.
I noticed when I was doing the research, they had about a garage demolition program. How is that different than the other things?
Okay, the garage demo program is something that we kind of, I kind of stole from Dover a few years ago. Every spring, we take applications, from somebody that might have a derelict garage or shed on their property that
Or
maybe they
shed,
can,
okay.
yeah, that they can't maybe afford to take down but needs to be. Or if I see something in my, travels that shows me, the roof's bad on this, or this garage has fallen down. You can make an application to my office, and as long as you don't have any other, like back utility bills or back taxes, owe other money to the city income
Yeah.
tax, we can take that property down for you at no charge in
Wow.
the fall. So, this year, I believe we did 3. And what we do is the street department comes in with the backhoe, takes it down, I pay for the dumpsters, and then either the street department or the cemetery, as they have dirt and straw and stuff, they come in and then level it off and make it to the ordinance guidelines as to how a vacant area should be.
Okay, so this is just for the, inside the city limits? for the
Yes,
demo,
my
not
jurisdiction
the
is
county.
only within the city limits.
So you work with the county then, the commissioners, when you're outside the city limits for the land bank?
For the land bank, yes. I
Okay,
am the
all right.
treasurer of the land bank. I'm not a voting member, but it's a 6 or 7 member board. 2 of the commissioners, the mayor, a couple other businessmen in the area.
There's a whole other interview
are on
about
it.
the land bank.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
So,
what,
yeah.
what kind of goals do you have for the code enforcement office?
Well, I would like it to be more people than just myself, and
Do you
we've.
not have an inspector?
I do not. I'm
Oh.
I'm it for the entire 63 miles of the city.
Oh,
And I don't just do that, you know, like I do a little bit of the real estate. I've facilitated the sales of a couple of the properties that we've sold and bought.
well, your background helps with that.
Yeah, it does. And I take the people to court when there's violations. I'm the one that goes to court. I also attend all the eviction notices, and court proceedings so that we can kind of track that, which feeds into the rental registration program, which can help
Okay.
the landlords. So yeah, there's just, I do a little bit of everything. I would like to have some help at some time. The budget
I was gonna say,
doesn't
you have
allow.
budget constraints.
My budget unfortunately is one of the first ones that goes because I'm smaller office and I can do 1,000 things. Well, I used to have a demolition line item in my budget, and I don't any longer, but thankfully the land bank has come in now, and so we're able to do the demolitions through the land bank.
Oh, great.
Cause
Okay.
that's, you know, it's a priority, but yet when we've got to have good water and good streets, those priorities kinda go to the bottom of the list, so.
Okay, well, yeah, you're a very busy person.
Kinda.
So, do you have time to do some fun things when you're not at
Oh,
work?
yeah. Yeah, I have family, but both my kids live out of town now, so I don't get to see them as often as
Oh, that's
I
just
like, but we travel just a little bit, you know, when we can, and take long weekend trips and so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear, and we're glad that someone with your experience and scope of things can be in that position to help us keep that moving forward.
Thank you. It's fun and always interesting. Most people don't care for me, especially unless I guess you're the neighbor that complains and I get it fixed, then, you know,
Yeah.
it's kind of thankless sometimes. But
Yeah, it is, but it certainly has helped when you drive around the city and
Yeah.
see the community, that the housing is, yeah, not blighted is,
Right.
that was exactly the word that I thought about.
It is,
also.
right. We've actually been contacted by Marietta. I've gone to Marietta and spoke. They didn't have code enforcement until just a couple years ago. Cause Shockton, Lower City, Pleasant City, Senecaville, a lot of different places, to kind of see how we do things. Cause we're a little bit ahead of, the scale as far as our rental registration and vacant property compared to some of the bigger cities, so I'm proud of that fact.
Well, yeah, doing a good job, we appreciate that.
Thank you.
And I have to say, this is a very interesting interview, and we have some other subjects that I would like to cover at some point.
Okay.
But if you're a business owner or somebody that contributes to something in the community and wants to talk with us on Park Bench. Be happy to talk with you, get a hold of us, and I hope everybody has a great day. So long. Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome. Sorry, I told you I could go on forever and ever.